Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Come on in the room. Hey, hey. Let me make sure that everybody can get on. I don't want no issues tonight with people not being able to comment. We're just not doing it today, right? Let's see where y'all at. That's the old one. This is the right one. Where y'all at? How do I share it? Hello, I'm trying to figure out how to share you. If y'all on YouTube, what's up, what's up? Hey, Sade. I knew you was waiting for this. I ain't gonna cancel no more. I'm sorry I did that to you. I'm trying to figure out how to share this on Facebook. The struggle is real. I don't know how to use. I'm too young not to know how to use this stuff. So just vibe out with me real quick. Just vibe with me for a second. Let me figure out how to put y'all share. All right, we're getting somewhere. I want to share it to my news feed. Okay, I'm coming. Let me post there. Let me share somewhere else. I'm sharing my group too. And put everybody on it. Let me see. Share the group. This group right here. How y'all feeling today? I know, sis. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna put out a schedule and everything. But I'm here tonight. Dating hits different. Okay. Okay. I think I have done. Wait, one more thing. I want people to be able to respond to it. Like they have this new thing, who can post public. All right. So we here, we live. Welcome to the Dating Hits Different show. I'm excited. I don't know if y'all missed me, but I'm here. I'm here tonight. And we're about to get into this conversation tonight. Make sure y'all talking back to me because I'm going to want to talk. And if you talking back, then I'm going to talk. All right? All right. So let me pause the music. I got the phone on Do Not Disturb because sometimes I heard it said, do not disturb in like real life, like practical terms is like self-care. It's like boundaries. It's like protect my peace. And sometimes I took my phone on Do Not Disturb because when I be trying to focus, it seems like everybody wants to talk to me. Everybody has a problem. And I'm here for you tonight. So at 7:30 on Tuesdays, all I'm doing is talking to y'all. So thank you, and welcome to the Dating Hits Different show with your girl, TeAire Griffin. I am your HealHer relationship coach. and I coach women who are frustrated with their love lives. And I help her to kiss dead in dating goodbye. How many of you are tired of dead in dating? How many of you are sick and tired of not being able to create lasting relationships? How many of you are sick and tired of one-sided relationships, complication statuses, situationships? I mean, just like, I'm gonna get into it, but like, how many of you are just like tired? Like, I know they used to say back in the day, you know, woman is tired. When she is sick and tired, she stops it. So how many of you are just over the dating scene? You think that the dating scene has P in it? I mean, how many are sick of it? So I coach that woman. I coach that woman who is frustrated with the dating scene, frustrated with her love life. I coach her to kiss dead in dating goodbye through healing her childhood trauma first so that she can date differently. Because the problem is, it's not just that there's P in the dating pool. The problem is not that you've been struggling in your dating life just because. It's not that you've been unlovable. It's not because you've been unloved. It's not because you are like, there's just something like literally just like wrong with you. That's not the problem. The problem is we don't never connect the dots. Yes, your relationships are failing, but have you ever stopped to think why? Why are they failing? Why am I going through the things I'm going through? Why am I in one-sided relationships? Why do I keep attracting the same kind of guy? Have you literally like ever stopped to like just ask, why? Why do I like this type? Why am I frustrated with dating? Why? Because I think as a culture, we just kind of just keep doing things over and over and over again until we're just kind of like sick of it. We just keep going through it, making little adjustments here and there, like changing the symptoms, but we never really like get to the root of why things aren't working. We don't get to the root to why we're not creating lasting relationships. We're not getting to the root why there are so many Christian women that are single. We're not getting to the root to why there are so many women that are still single, that have their bank account right, they have a nice job, they have their own house, their own car, but why are your relationships failing? I want to know. I mean, I know the answer for a lot of women. I don't know your answer, but I know the women that are called to me, I know why your relationships are failing. And I want to get into that tonight. But before I get into that, I want to tell you a quick story. So Jamal Bryant did a service, and he was talking in his sermon about when you hit your pinky toe, right, on a chair, a cabinet, whatever, you've hit your pinky toe and your whole body responds. Like you hit or in a relationship and still not happy, because that's one. Because okay, let's go back. One thing I want y'all to do is I want y'all to come into the room. So you can see I got my little couch here. We're working on setting up the set, right? I want you to come in here and y'all like in my living room. This is like girl talk for real, because it's crazy because we leave our girls talks, we leave our friends, and we're still in the same situation. We complain about the same relationships and nothing is changing. We kind of just like going through the motions. You keep bringing it up to your friends, but then she tells you what to do and you still leave. So, but when you leave my living room, I want you to leave with some takeaways. I want you to leave trying to do something different, because insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. So we're not trying to leave the same way. That pain side up your back. So yeah. So Jamal Bryant. So Jamal Bryant said you hit your toe and your whole body is responding. Your hands go up, you're screaming, your brain is like, ouch. You're jumping up and down, like your whole body feels it, right? And he said that you know who's connected to you, right? Because when you hurt, they hurt too. You really will be able to tell when someone is connected to you, that when something happens to you, they feel it also. So if you are hurting, they're hurting too. If you are happy, they are happy too. Let me see if somebody's saying something. Say hello, come in the room, let's have a conversation. All right? Okay. So when you're miserable, it's not that they're necessarily miserable too, but whatever you're feeling, whatever is connected to you is going to feel. They're going to have some type of response as well because they're connected to you. You can really tell when somebody is connected to you when they feel what you feel. If you hit your toe, or if you are hurting and your friends or your family or your so-called lover, whoever is in your life, they don't feel what you feel, they're not available to you, they don't want to answer your calls now, they think that you need to grow up, they think that you need to get over it, you really can tell who is connected to you when they feel what you feel. If you are jumping up and down or you're sad and you look at them and they have no response, that tells me that there is something that is disconnected. Right? So I'm painting a picture because I'm about to lay it down. Hey, Auntie, about to lay it down for you, right? So if they have no response to what you are going through, they're not really connected. So then I started to think a little bit deeper in this thing, right? So we talked about hitting your toe, right? Then I said that if you are responding in a certain way and the people that are connected to you aren't responding as well, then they're not really connected. But then here's a deeper emotional connection that I want you to make. Whenever you are experiencing a trigger, your entire body responds. Your hand palms may get sweaty. You may get sweaty. Your heartbeat's racing fast. You'll freeze up. There's some type of response. And the way that I want to paint this to you is like this. If your other parts of your life are responding to what's happening with you now, that means it's still connected. And if I'm in a present moment and it's bringing something up from my past, that tells me that you're still connected to it. Is that making sense? So if I am dealing with something in my relationship and I go back to thinking about my father issues, or I go back to thinking about my mama issues, or I go back to thinking about how people have left me, that tells me that there's something that's still connected. Let me make sure that I'm painting the picture to you. So if people around you are connected to you, can feel what you feel. If there is something in you that triggers an old moment, that tells me that it's still connected. You're still connected to your past in some way. If you're going through a situation with your current relationship and somehow you think about your ex, or you somehow thinking about people that have gone before him, that tells me that there's something that's still connected. What I really want to paint to you is that you're still connected to your past in some way. And what I want to help you to do is connect the dots between your childhood issues and your current life. I want you to see that it's all connected. I want you to stop looking at your relationship as if it is separate from your childhood, looking at your business and thinking that it's separate from what you think about yourself, right? Because our self-esteem and our self-worth affects the opportunities we take. It affects what we believe about ourselves. It's affecting, okay, digging screen. Let me get going, because you're going to. Come on, sis, we get these goggles because I don't want us to stay in the same place. I think that we just keep healing symptoms. Somebody else said something to me and said, Sam, would you say most domestic abusers have a personality disorder like narcissism? So I'm gonna be honest with you. I do not know the answer to that because I don't really go into narcissism and stuff like that. I really just stick to daddy issues or mother issues and childhood trauma. But from my psychology friends, they would say that it is, but I think that there's a gamut of varieties of ways that can happen or that it can be connected that I honestly don't have an answer to. Sorry, but I can get that question. And if you come back next Tuesday, I can probably have an answer for you. So yes, we're going deep because if you are in a situation now, and this is how I see it, because why am I in a relationship And literally I'm responding in a way that doesn't equate to what's happening. Like, he may have made me sad, but like, why is my response exacerbated? Like, why? Like, you ever see people like, you're overly dramatic or you're just dramatic? And I really want to take this thing out of that, because the problem is not that I was dramatic or that I was crazy. The problem literally was that I was anxious. The problem literally was that I was in a present moment. I was present with you, but I was really dealing with something from my past. I was dealing with the thing in my past in a way that I had not processed yet. So it's literally like, I wish I could show you guys, but it was a scene on Ratatouille. My pastor, I showed this one day, and he was sitting down in front of this dish. He was the critic in the movie, right? And when he was sitting there eating the food, in the moment of him smelling the food, he was like snatched back in the show, and it literally like transports him back to a child when he first smelled it before. And I want you to think about that when you are in a present situation and you're responding from a past place. Like, this is happening now, but she's not being overly dramatic. She literally hasn't resolved so many things in her heart. And it's like this on top of this on top of this. And she's responding to all of it in this present moment. So she's not really mad at you. She's really probably mad at her dad for what he didn't do. She's probably really mad at her exes, right? Because we're bringing this baggage into our relationship. So in this moment, when I'm dealing in my relationships, I'm physically here, but emotionally, I'm back there. Developmentally, I'm back there. So I can't even, because I've developmentally, because when you don't have a father in your life, you developmentally start growing. You were using your expressions to be vocal. My tone told it all, didn't even be the words all the time. Exactly. Because I have said some things. Exactly. I was like that too. And I had to really realize, am I mad at you or am I really mad at somebody else? And I think that, again, we are not aware of this. So that's what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about how you are literally, I was saying, developmentally, you haven't grown. A lot of us are stuck in arrested development. And I've grown in age. I might be 31, but I'm responding to the situation as if I was that 8-year-old girl. I'm responding to the situation as if this is the first time that my daddy left. And the problem with dating with daddy issues, dating without a daddy, the problem is having these relationships where I'm not healed. I still have unfinished business. And one of the movies that I like, y'all, I'm not even gonna hold you, is what's the movie I like? Best Man. Y'all remember Best Man 1, where Taye Diggs had that book called Unfinished Business? Yeah. So when we are moving on into our relationships and wanting to love and moving on in our careers, and we have unfinished business, we always go back to that place. That's what I'm talking about, the connections. The connections. And I'm going to give you an example of a connection that me and my counselor just went through the other day. But it's about the connections. Present, physically, I'm here, but emotionally, mentally, I'm still in my former state. Right? So I said something to y'all 2 weeks ago, right? And I could not remember where I was going, but I remember now. Remember when I was talking about like the gangster movies, and I was like, yeah, in the gangster movies, and I just kind of like drew a whole blank. Well, what I wanted to say is, in these gangster movies, or these crime movies, when they go back to kill the people who know what they did, they have to tie up loose ends in order for them not to get caught, in order to protect themselves, et cetera, et cetera. So when I talk about unfinished business, there are a lot of loose ends in our childhood that need to be tied up, because if not, then you risk those people coming back to harm you. You risk those people coming back to tell on you, which jeopardizes your freedom. You risk other people knowing, right? In the gangster movies, you risk them knowing, you risk them being able to come back and somehow sabotage your life. And when we do not deal with our daddy issues, when you don't tie up those loose ends, it comes back to sabotage your life. And daddy issues is literally like a whack-a-mole. It's a whack-a-mole. Like, y'all can play the whack-a-mole game, and every time you hit down on it, it pops up in another place, and it pops up in another place, and it pops up in another place. What you do not confront, you will not conquer. When you act as if these daddy issues don't really affect me, when you are so mad at your father that you don't even want to give him no clout. Like, I'm not giving you anything. I wouldn't even give you the benefit of the doubt. I won't even give you the benefit of the doubt to say that somehow you hurt me. So when we don't deal with it, or we think that things are just going to resolve themselves, or when we think that things are going to resolve themselves, or we think that time is going to heal all wounds, guess what? It's the whack-a-mole. It's going to pop back up. If you don't deal with it in your childhood, it's going to pop up in your adulthood. If you don't deal with it in your singleness, it's going to pop up in your marriage. And I know this from head knowledge and studying, but I also have friends that have gone through it who got married and she realized that she still had daddy issues. Her daddy issue wasn't resolved because she had a relationship. Her daddy issue didn't just go away because she had a man. Listen, if you don't deal with it in your singleness, baby girl, it's going to show up in your marriage. If you don't deal with it in your childhood, it's going to show up in your children. It's going to come up. If you don't deal with it in this part of your life, it may show up in your business. If you don't deal with it in this part of your life, it's going to show up in your in your money, because daddy issues affects our identity. It affects what we believe. Daddy issues affect our belief. And if our beliefs are affected, our behaviors are affected. Daddy issues, if you know about affirmations, it's a buzzword. Everybody's doing affirmations. So whenever you begin to have affirmations, what you believe about yourself, this is how you begin to show up. And when there's no father present to tell you who you are, you're trying to make sense of it. You're trying to be okay with what's happening in your life. So you're trying to understand, okay, if daddy wasn't there, then I must be rejected. Daddy wasn't there, so I must be unlovable. Daddy wasn't there, or daddy was present. It was physically there, but emotionally absent. He only gave me money, so that tells me that what? Let's think of a word. I'm not a priority. When daddy's putting everything else before you and he can't come see you because he has other things to do, you're now thinking, I'm not important. I'm not worthy of his time. Let me see something. I don't like the way this is, but I'm gonna fix this next week. I am. Daddy issues affects our belief. Daddy issues affects our identity. It affects what we believe, right? So when I don't, one of the things which is tied to identity, daddy issues affects your self-esteem, which goes to identity. It goes to what you believe about yourself. So if I believe that I'm not important and my self-esteem is low, then I begin to accept whatever some guys give me. Right? Y'all process that. Give me 1 second. I don't like this. I do not like this. Okay. Your self-esteem is affected. Your self-esteem is affected without a daddy. So we accept, again, trash guys, right? We accept bare minimum because I don't think that I deserve anything better than this, right? So let's see what else I want to tell you. All right. So what I want you to do is I want you to write this down and I want you to come back to it, right? So one thing that I want to talk to about my counselor, I'm gonna be completely transparent because the level of freedom that I'm walking in, excuse me, I want you to walk in as well. Okay, the level of freedom that I'm walking in, I want you to walk in as well. So I was talking to my counselor the other day about my desire to be chosen. Matter of fact, I brought this up to her a couple months ago, and I was dating this guy. Yeah, I was dating this boy. I was in love with this boy, and this boy broke up with me. Boy breaks girl's heart. And he said that the way that I loved was too much. He told me the way that I write this note down, take. He said the way that I loved was too much. And he was gonna break up with me and he was gonna come back. So when he broke up with me because he didn't want a relationship, a couple months later, he ended up getting a girlfriend. And I was like, why didn't you just tell me that you didn't want to be with me? I could have swallowed that pill better instead of being here wondering why I'm not your girlfriend. If you didn't want a girlfriend, but then you get a girlfriend, that just tells me that you didn't want me, right? Like, one thing, I'm not as slow. So I was reading the room. I was like, hold on. You don't want a girlfriend, but you got a girlfriend, but your girlfriend that you got ain't me. So bring it all together. 1 + 1 = 2. And that 2 ain't me, right? It's not me and you, it's you and her and whatever. And she was just like, why is that your struggle? Like, why is him not choosing you or choosing somebody else over you? Why is that like your struggle? And she's like, you gotta have a better struggle. And I brought it back up to her. I was just like, what did you mean I needed to have a better struggle? She said, that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. Like, why is it that you want to be chosen? And I just took my time. I sat there with it. I was like, because my daddy didn't choose me. I felt like my dad, and this is, again, if you watch me, this is not a bash on my dad. I'm trying to help you get your healing as I got mine. I'm not mad at my daddy. I love my daddy. I think that my daddy is thebomb.com. I think that my daddy is still growing. I think that my father was hurt before. We'll get into all of that later, not necessarily his story, but like what you do with your own story. But I'm not bashing him. I'm just telling you my story to let you know where I arrived to. All right. So I was like, my dad didn't choose me. So what I do is I do things to be chosen. What I do is things to make sure that I'm not left. What I do is I pursue. What I do and pursue, meaning I was doing the calling, I was doing the texting, I was setting up the dates, and like all of this, right? I was doing the most. I was DTMing. I was doing it all because I felt like, is that the story I want to tell? Hold on, let me get back over here. Go down this link. So I wasn't chosen by my dad. And that thing affected me to the point to where I do things for attention. Oh, are we going to be real in the room? Because if we're not going to keep it get, then we can't keep it. You understand what I'm saying? If we're not going to keep it get, we can't keep it. So I was doing things to be chosen. Like I was doing things to make sure that I was seen. I was doing things to make sure that you knew that I was important. I'm telling you what I was doing. And the thing is, we have these knee-jerk reactions to doing things and we don't know why. Subconsciously in my mind, wanting to be chosen, the belief was I was leavable. Come on. That the other day, I cried. because the emotion that I was showing from my childhood, because daddy issues was so normal, was I was numb to it. It didn't really affect me that much. It made me a little distant to my dad. But as I sat there crying on my coaching call, she said, what are the tears really saying? That I'm disappointed, that I'm hurt that my dad wasn't there for me like that. I'm hurt because I didn't get to have the daddy daughter, daddy's girl scenario. I really wanted that. I used to watch the Cosby Show. I used to watch My Wife and Kids, and I just wanted to be daddy's little girl, daddy's little princess. I wanted to be doted on. I wanted to be affirmed. I mean, I wanted the things that a normal child should want. And because I didn't get that, I had now this deficiency that I was dating out of. So now, unconsciously, I'm dating men. And the craziest thing is, I'm dating men who don't dote on me, who don't lead, who don't plan trips, who ain't pressed to be with me, who ain't pursuing me, who ain't calling me. And I was like, why am I doing this? What is all this for? And the thing about it is, let me sit down. Dating out of deficiency, girl, that's my next book, sis. Dating out of your sufficiency and not your deficiency. Like, I was deficient. I literally, you know how there's a level ground? Let's say the level ground was here. I was dating down here. I needed to be filled up before we could build this life together, before we can build this relationship, before we can build this business, before we can build this bank account. Let me tell you something. It means nothing to be wealthy and have all the money in the bank and your soul be broke. It don't mean a lick of nothing, because it'll never be enough. As long as you are dating or doing anything from a place of deficiency, nothing that anybody gives you will ever be enough. Let me say it one more time for the people in the back. No matter what you do, it will never be enough. No matter what he do, no matter how many degrees you get, no matter how many zeros you got in the bank, no matter how many titles you got behind your name, no matter how much he love you, no matter it don't even matter. If you are deficient, if you are living below the level ground, it'll never be enough. Before we can build, you got to fill. And it is not this man's business. It's not this man's duty. It's not this man's responsibility. It's not this man's obligation to fill you. You got to do that before him, sis. And that's why you're here. You got to deal with you first. All right. So the problem was, Sade, I wanted to be chosen. I wanted to be doted upon. I wanted all the things, but I wasn't giving the men of my life the space to do it. Because before he wouldn't do it and I'd be disappointed for what he didn't do, I was setting it up so that he can do it for me. But for some reason, he wasn't taking the hint. I'm setting it all. I'm trying to show you what I want, sir. Because I want you to do it for me. So what happens is, let me slow down. We date from our subconscious mind. Subconscious is you breathe subconsciously, you blink your eyes subconsciously, you get tired. These are things that you do without thinking. So your subconscious mind is doing these things without dating. It's getting your type without thinking. It's attracting you to certain people without you thinking. It's just happening, right? Because ultimately your brain wants to change the narrative. Your brain, our bodies as humans, we love patterns, we love comfort, and we love familiar. So you wonder why you keep dating the same type of guy. It's because you're wired for familiar. You're wired for what's comfortable. And what we're trying to do ultimately is change the narrative. Ultimately, we're trying to change the outcome. That's ultimately what you're doing, right? You follow me, Sade? This is what we do, right? So my daddy didn't dote on me. My daddy didn't make any plans. My daddy didn't pursue me. My daddy didn't act like he wanted to spend time with me. My daddy didn't, he wasn't calling me to really see how I was doing. My daddy didn't show up for a lot of things that were important in my life. My dad, see, he wasn't doing this. So ultimately, I didn't get this. So I just told you that we date from our subconscious. So I was dating guys who didn't do the same things. I was dating men who things my daddy didn't do. But this time, I can change him. This time, I can change the narrative. Let me see what I wrote down so I can read to you. Because this time it's going to be different. This time it's going to be different. How many of you have told yourself that? How many of you told yourself that this time is going to be different? This time is going to be different. So what I was doing is I was dating these guys who I wanted to pull it out of them. I never had it. I wanted to feel that. I wanted that relationship with these guys, but I wanted it from the person who would, and I did it the guys who didn't do those things. Because my daddy didn't do those things, I did it guys who didn't do these things. And hopefully this time I can bring it out of him because of how great I am, how amazing I am, how good I rock him up. Like how good, how much I can buy him, how much I can give him, how I can walk around here like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to assess everything that could go wrong in this relationship. Here I am trying to look at every threat and make sure that there's nothing that's going to hinder this relationship. Like literally, I'm trying to figure out what this man needs before he knows what he needs, because I wanted to show him that I am the one. I'm the one that you choose. I wanted from him what I didn't get from my dad. But I also chose the men who weren't giving it to me. Yo, I wrote it down and I want to read it to you. And I'm trying to figure out why it's not right here. Where is the word? I'm gonna get it. Y'all gonna get this good gospel. So I wrote, never doted upon. So my dad didn't dote on me, right? Upon, but that's what I wanted. So why didn't I date guys to do that? Have you ever asked yourself, okay, so you broke up, right, with this guy, that this relationship didn't work out, right? And you took from it the things that you didn't want anymore. So now I'm adjusting. I don't want that particular thing anymore. But the overall guy that you want, I remember when I was praying one time for a guy, and I told God all, like, you know how they talk about they told God all their lists. I told God all that I wanted in a man. I mean, I told him. And then I started talking to this guy who didn't meet the list. Like he met like a part of it, but he didn't like meet the list, right? And I remember God was like, why do you keep accepting what you didn't pray for? You say you want this, but why do you accept this guy? Because ultimately, women with daddy issues are always trying to fix people. We're always trying to fix. All right. So never doted upon what I wanted. So why didn't I date guys like this? One of would have constantly needed it. Didn't believe I was worthy of it. Oh, so one, I would have constantly needed it. I would have constantly needed him to dote on me. I didn't believe I was worthy of all of that. Although I wanted it, I didn't believe I was worthy because daddy issues affects our identity, right? Never had that. So questioning, are you sure that I deserve this? Are you sure you want to do this for me? I never wanted, I wanted guys who didn't give it. I wanted guys who didn't dote on me to dote on me. So they didn't even have the ability to dote. They didn't have the capacity to dote on me. They didn't do it. So why did I want this guy who already showed me that he doesn't do this thing, right? Because we always are trying to change the story. My daddy didn't dote, so I found guys who didn't dote so that I could pull it out of them. Because maybe if I had done something different with my daddy would have given it to me. So Holy Spirit, help me. Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, help me break this down. So I wanted to be doted on. My daddy didn't dote on me. So because I can't change my daddy and what happened there, I now date men who do not have the ability to dote. I dated dudes who was hard, who had a lot to prove with their masculinity. I dated guys who were like closed off and like really thuggish because I wanted him to melt for me. It was something about him being hard and then doting on me and then being like a teddy bear that would validate me that I was good enough. Come on, y'all. Like it was something about me that I wanted that from him. So this man who don't dote, he ain't doting. He ain't affirming me. He ain't pouring out his heart to me. He ain't that open. Come on. I got this dude who don't dote, but I'm trying to pull doting out of him. He don't dote. My daddy didn't dote, but I can't change my daddy, but I can change him. I can do things to make him know that I'm worthy to be doted because I don't believe it until he does it. And when he still does it, I still don't believe it. Hey, it's a whole thing. And I want you to heal. I want you to heal. And I don't want to be here long. I hope that I've given y'all some really valuable things. So another thing that I discovered with my counselor, because I want you to connect the dots. Can I ask you a question? What in them were I noticed pattern in the men I dated? They all had the same type of insecurities. Sis, I noticed that all the guys I dated were emotionally unavailable. Every last one of them. Every last one of them, what was I gonna say? I had to work for everyone. So she said, can I ask a question? What in them were you attracted to? And I think, again, I think that it is so subconscious, sis. Like, I think it's the way that they made me feel. I was always going for what could come out of it. Like if I get this hard dude to melt for me, oh my gosh. I think another problem is our type. We want this particular type of guy, like we literally, whether we think about it or not, we date on our level. So I only like this particular guy because that's all I ever seen. We date from our template. I want to make sure that I'm answering this question. What in them were you attracted to? I was attracted to what I saw. I like the way, and at first it starts off as a physical thing. I like the way that it's just something I saw confidence in these men. I saw men who were unbothered. I loved the unbothered type. And it was something about the unbothered type that made me feel like it would be safe. And our radar is ultimately broken. So we can't even tell what we're getting into. Because I've talked to some friends, Sade, and one of my friends was like, she learned later in life that her dad was an alcoholic. She said, sis, I learned that my dad was an alcoholic. And she married an alcoholic. We only date our template. Whether you know your dad or not, you're going to date. You're going to date what you think he is. You're going to date who he's been and what you've seen. So I was just attracted literally to the way that made me feel, because let me get it. I wrote down something and ask the question another way, sis, if I didn't answer it. but I think that I did. But it was saying, Holy Spirit, where is the bookmarks? Hey y'all. Bookmarks. Okay. It was like literally at the top. Come on. Let me find it. It was this one. Where are the bookmarks at? Oh. We were attracted to potential partners who stimulate in us the same way our parents treated us. So it's literally like that feeling. Like I'm still chasing that feeling. I'm attracted to literally what this person did not. Let me see. I'm attracted to what I can tell this person is going to give me because I never had it before. Write the question again, sis, or let me know if I answered it. Because literally, that's what we got to figure out. Why are we attracted to these people? Like, what in them were you attracted to? I remember one time I was talking to Aunt Trell, and I was like, man, I want a thug. I want to thug this. I want to thug that. And I started to express to her why I wanted a thug. And she was like, you don't want a thug. You want to be protected. So I was attracted to what was in him that I felt like could protect me. I was attracted to him for what I felt like he could feel in me. Yeah, that's the answer in the question. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So what I felt he could, what was in him that could fill me. That makes me think of another situation where I was it was the thug. I think it was something else. Literally what I thought they could provide. Yeah. I was attracted to what I thought they could provide. Yes. So dating hits different without a daddy. Because if you don't have nobody to take this guy to, like, what are you measuring him against? What are you measuring the guy you're dating against? Like, I knew, like, as I started to heal, I had adopted a godfather. And I was talking to this guy and I was like, yeah, I cannot bring you home to my godfather. Like, I can't take you to him for him to meet you because I know. Yeah, who could feed my deficiency? And then I wouldn't have called it deficiency, but I wanted to be protected. So I dated guys that I thought could protect me. Pretty much. I'm trying to figure out what else, like, because I knew I was over the top. I also dated guys who were very leveled. I felt like, oh, we could balance each other out. And the crazy part is, I realized that I also dated guys who I had to fix, who I had to build up, who I had my hands a lot in their life. Like my coach the other day was like, they were incapable. Like, literally they didn't have much going for themselves, but I can help him. then he will really love me, and then he won't really leave because I'm helping him, right? Because my fear was that guys were going to leave me. So if I can present my best foot and be perfect and all of these things, then he won't leave, because ultimately I felt leavable. I felt like in able is the suffix that you put on the end of words to say that it's certain to happen, or it's likely to happen, um, or I'm fit for it. I felt like I was fit to be left. So I did a lot of things because I did not feel good enough. So I was attracted to guys who would make me feel good enough, low key. Because I remember my friend asked her, she was like, "You want a man just so you got one?" I mean, he wasn't helping me. Like, a lot of the guys didn't add anything to my life, but I gave them everything. And the problem is we invest so much and we don't want to lose our relationships with these guys because we put in so much of the investment. I invested my time, my money, my energy, my life into you, into making this relationship work. And you can walk away so easily. And the point fact that they can walk away so easily is because they have no investment in me. I didn't give them room to invest in me. I didn't give them a space to invest in me because I was doing everything. I didn't depend on them. Right? So I felt leavable. I literally felt like they were going to leave. So I had to do everything to stop this. I dated guys who I thought wouldn't leave. And I did a lot of things because ultimately they would see, what was one thing that I said a couple of years ago? They will ultimately see that I was loving them in the way that I felt like they needed to be loved, because from the stories that I heard, people always leaving them. So I wanted to be the one that stayed for them. Um, so yeah, I thought I was leavable, right? And another thing, my daddy didn't really show up for me the way that I needed him to. My dad didn't come to my high school or my college graduation, right? So daddy didn't show up to those graduations. And I realized that, and I'm telling you, I want y'all to make the connection. So daddy didn't show up to my college or high school graduations, and he had every excuse for why he couldn't be there for me. So when I dated guys, like subconsciously, the reason why I was doing the most, making all the plans, is because I wanted to remove the excuse on why he couldn't show up. I wanted to give you no reason why you couldn't be there for me, because I didn't want to feel that again. Like, yeah, my mom was there, my aunts were there, but my dad wasn't there. And I just started to develop this notion that I didn't need him. So that's what I'm telling you. I want you to look at your life. This is your homework for when I meet with you again. Look at your life. How is daddy issues affecting your life? And I want to know more so about relationships, because I help frustrated women who are frustrated with their relationship life. I want you to know why it's failing. I want you to know why. One of the things I wanted to say is I want you to know why you are having consistent trouble manifesting healthy relationships. It's not just because the relationship aren't working. It's not just because there's DP in the dating pool. It's not just because you're not destined for it, or God doesn't want you to be married, or blah 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 blah. Literally, until you finish the unfinished business, until you tie up the loose ends, you will not be able to have healthy relationships, because as long as you're moving forward and you haven't dealt with the past, you're going to keep having to go back. History always repeats itself when we don't heal it, when we don't do something different, when we don't close those doors. History is repeating itself. History is always repeating itself. So if you want consistent, healthy relationships going to last, and the one that is going to take you, what I say, sis, you got to tell me what I said, because I think there's a lag. Tell me what I said, and I can celebrate with you. So if you want healthy relationship, you have to first be healthy yourself. Like, it comes from you. To have a whole relationship, it involves, it requires a whole you. So again, it's not that there's anything wrong with dating. Dating isn't the problem. It's how we're showing up to dating. We're showing up with way too much baggage, way too much junk. And we keep ending up at a dead end because of what's in our heart. I have so many notes and I really want to get this all to you, right? But I won't be able to do it tonight because I've been on here for an hour and I want to keep these at least an hour. So I told you to go look at your life. I want you to look at the patterns between your relationship with your dad or the lack thereof, or your dad was emotionally available, but yes, heal that trauma. Your dad was emotionally unavailable or he was physically present. And I want you to compare it to your exes. Make like a list and see the similarities and use this question to guide you. So I do X because Y happened. And I felt A because of Y. And I married this way. So I see B how I see C. I know I'm giving you a lot of letters and I repeat it. I see it there and I see it here. So again, I do X because Y happened. And I felt like A because of Y. I see B how I see C. So I see it there and I saw it here. So I just told you, I pursue men and I wait around for men and I give my all without expecting anything in return. Like, it's not that you should, I feel like you should expect something in return, not because I'm giving you something, but reciprocity, right? So I do all of these things expecting nothing back. Like the guys are just coasting in relationships because I feel like my dad didn't want me. I feel like my dad didn't prioritize me. I felt like my dad didn't choose me and I just wanted to be felt. And because this happened, or because my dad didn't show up at my graduation, because my daddy didn't choose me, I felt unprioritized. I felt unimportant. So I see what my dad did and how I'm showing up now. Does that make sense? I'm gonna say it again. So I do X. So I call a lot. I pursue guys. I wait around because my daddy didn't show up for me. And because he didn't show up for me, I felt unimportant and I felt rejected. I see myself waiting for these guys the way that I waited for my dad. And I'll close with this story. I literally waited for this guy for hours, the same way that I waited for my dad. And the third time that this guy like stood me up and didn't show up for me, and I done planned the whole weekend. I got my hair done. I bought new clothes. I bought new bags. I set up us to get dinner made by a personal chef. I did all the things. And the third time that he stood me up, like literally, I think it was the fourth time that he stood me up and I was sitting on the couch, I was like, this feels familiar. Like, this doesn't feel like I'm waiting on this boy. This is the little girl waiting for her dad. So I see it there as I see it here. So what in your life do you see what you're doing now in your relationships that's directly related to how you had the relationship with your dad? And we're going to get into mommy issues because it's a whole thing. Okay. So I do X. What do you do because of what happened with your dad? What do you do because of the events in your life with your father? And then how did that event make you feel? Don't rationalize it. Your husband going to live his dream. Why? I hope so. Listen, I am a dream, honey. I'm a dream come true. And because I'm also giving them a healed version of me. So absolutely. So I felt this. So this happened, and don't rationalize it. Don't try to make sense of it. Like, really feel the feel. Like, don't think, oh, I can't think about this way about my daddy. Or when we get to mommy, I can't think this way about my mommy because she didn't know. How did it make you feel? Let's deal with the feeling first, and then we can get to understanding. But were you angry? Did you feel neglected? Did you feel unprioritized? Did you feel unimportant? Did you feel unworthy? What did you feel? and side by side mirror it. This happened with my dad. This happens in relationships. And try to bridge it. This is happening because of this. I wait because I waited for my dad, et cetera, et cetera. So that's all I have for you all tonight. I'm so glad that y'all joined me. Facebook, I'm sorry, I have to download this video and then try this again because I'm not exactly sure what happened with that. But I think you guys, if y'all don't have any questions, comments, concerns, accolades, praise, claps, whatever you want to do that now. I have, like I said, we're going to come back to dating hits different without a daddy. Dating hits different with daddy issues, because as long as you have these issues, your relationships will never be what you're working so hard for them to become. It might get to marriage, but it would be so much work because you need a lot of work. So until you really deal with your daddy issues, it's going to show up in your relationships. It's going to show up in how you relate to people. It's going to show up with fear. And I'm going to, for real, I'm like the Baptist pastor. I keep saying I'm going to close with this, but I'm going to really close right now, right? So the last thing I want to share with you is this. As you begin to heal and you attach to your past properly, have a proper view of your past, you won't be as fearful. You won't be panicking. You won't always have to revisit that old moment because the unfinished business to be done, the door will be closed. I don't have to go back to this door because it's done. And I don't have to live from that space. I don't have to live from that wound. So you don't have to be panicking and paranoid and anxious. You can be grounded. The point of healing these daddy issues and childhood traumas are so that you can be grounded. Know who you are and be confident. Be able to articulate how you feel. Be able to speak. Yeah, speak your mind. Be able to set healthy boundaries because you're grounded. As long as you are unhealed and unresolved, that old thing is going to keep showing up in your present life. The way that your daddy made you feel, whenever somebody touches it or does the same thing that resembles it, you're going to always go back to the way that daddy treated you, the way that daddy loved you, the way that he didn't love you, whatever it is, you're going to always revert back because it's undone. You got to tie up those loose ends, unless those things are going to come back and sabotage your life, your relationships, and the things and how you relate. You're going to always be anxious. You're going to always be probably avoidant. You're going to always over exaggerate. You're going to always overdo. You're going to always wait. You're going to always accept poor treatment. It's going to always happen if you don't deal with the real issue. We're not healing symptoms, y'all. We're dealing with the root so we can uproot it out. All right, that's all I got. I thank you for y'all being here today. I love y'all. I'm going to see y'all next Tuesday. Same room, same place. Oh, somebody sees it. Chat. Listen, I was struggling in here because I'm probably not going to do this invite thing no more because that did not work over there. Well, bye, you two. It's been great hanging with you. Thank you all for tuning into the Dating Hits Different show.